central bank digital currencies. What are they? Why are they coming to a town, a country, a lemonade stand near you? And why you should understand what these are and why you probably don't want to participate in it, or at least participate as little as you are able to do, and why everybody needs to have a cryptocurrency account, a wallet, and be signed up on an exchange somewhere. Okay, this is the very first, call it a crypto freedom report we're going to do here on central bank digital currencies. You may have heard some headlines here and there, and really, the countries have understood now for a bit. They've always wanted to go to a digital currency, and we kind of sort of already have that. But they like the blockchain technology that tracks every little thing and registers it to a blockchain that you can then run analytics and reports and everything to see what people are doing with their money and who's not paying their taxes, right? So the first country to roll out and implement a central bank digital currency is, of course, China. You know, the hopes and dreams and freedom country of China. Says here, China has leapfrogged much of the development world in its establishment of digital yuan. Central bank digital currencies are a growing source of interest around the world as cryptocurrencies flourish. The U.S. Federal Reserve has taken a more deliberate approach to the issue and is unlikely to make any reactive moves to the developments in China. Everyone is trying to, as you can see here with the map, these are all the different countries that are actively working in getting their very own CBDC. Now remember, this central bank and this reserve system does not mean it's actually the country. These are a bunch of bankers that exist completely outside any realms. You know, we have the Federal Reserve, which is not federal, and it's not reserving anything. It effectively prints money out of thin air because it feels like it. And there is no attachment to gold, there is no attachment to any asset, and the result of that is you will have inflation. They plan for 2% inflation every year. Well, obviously a currency cannot continue like that if it's not worth anything, you know, at 2% a year and then compounded year after year after year after year. That's basically thievery from people. So now, because the currency has, the American currency, US dollar, which hasn't been backed by anything since 1971, it's been 50 years. We just had the anniversary. Because that currency is now run its course and people don't want to use it anymore, they want to switch to make a blockchain version of the dollar that has all of the exact same problems that the dollar has with their monetary policy. Just print more, print more, print more, print more. But with the added benefits of the blockchain is that if you make people use it, they get to know exactly every single thing that you purchase. Or they can turn your accounts on and off at will. They can add extra taxes to you. If you give $5 to your child for an allowance for the week, your child will be taxed because it will be an automatic part of the blockchain. And this is what China has just rolled out. And I'm sure China, they have social credit points and probably social credit yuan that comes in there, where if you're a good boy, you get a little extra money. And if you're a bad boy, you have to pay in a little extra into the system. So what a central bank digital currency effectively does is remove any sovereignty out of your money whatsoever. You can no longer decide where your money goes. It's all owned by the state. And this is why everybody needs to have a account on a Coinbase, on a Kraken, on something. You need to have some Bitcoin somewhere on a wallet. Okay? You need this. Everybody needs this. It's only a matter of time here, guys, before these currencies will be rolling out, and some people will just go right along with it, and it's the new thing. Let me tell you, if you're in England and you have a bank account right now, even in the current system, they don't have a CBDC, but a lot of transactions are done through, you know, a digital means, right? You use a digital dollar or a digital whatever. That's not a cryptocurrency, but whatever they have, if it's digital Everything in your bank account is digital, by the way. The bank doesn't have any money. If you want to take out more than a couple $1,000s, you have to call the bank ahead of time so they can have the armored car drop off some more cash because they don't have it. You want to go to your account and you want to take out accounts. If the Federal Reserve or the government or the town or whoever says, no, we're not going to let people take out money, or the bank themselves, you're stuck. You don't have access to your funds. And then the option is, of course, well, don't use banks and then you have cash. Well, most payments, you want to buy something on Amazon, you have to use a credit card. You have to use a digital form of money. You're kind of stuck. Unless you have crypto. Unless you have cryptocurrency. So what happens here when banks run out of money and the monetary policy has destroyed the economy and nobody's working, and you want to go buy a sandwich and it's $150 due to inflation? Well, the banks aren't making enough money, so we have to turn to negative interest rates. Now, once upon a time when I was a child, so it'd be like 35 years ago, people used to make a couple % interest on their bank accounts and their savings account. The whole reason for having a savings account was because it had an interest rate, where your checking accounts typically didn't. Well, now they still have an interest rate. It's a negative interest rate. So for the privilege of letting the banks make money, interest, off loaning out your assets, for the privilege of allowing the banks to do that, they're going to charge you. That is what a negative interest rate is. Now, obviously, currently, right now, you have the choice to take everything out of the bank and not use the bank. You have that option. You can put everything into crypto if you want. You can do just about everything with cryptocurrency these days. But what's going to happen when you actually have a central bank digital currency built on a blockchain? You don't have any control over your money whatsoever. None. You don't have any decisions about anything. You don't even have any decisions about your purchasing power. Because if the government decides that everyone gets a tax rebate or whatever it happens to be, in America it'd be a stimulus check or something, they can say, here's some phony baloney CBDC currency for you guys, but you can only spend it on this, and this, and only by these companies. As America is moving now into fascism completely, where certain companies are the golden children that are part of the government, and that's maybe the only place you can spend your money. We'll give you CBDC money so you can go to Amazon and buy junk. Okay, because we believe in Bezos. We want everybody to shop at Amazon. You cannot use that money to go shop at a local store unless it is a grocery store, which what I've been finding out is a lot of those are owned by BlackRock now. So these are your options. Right now, you have $1. You can spend your dollar wherever you want. Or if you're really good, you have crypto. You have Bitcoin, where anybody will take your Bitcoin anywhere in the world. Okay. What else do we have going on here? I'm going to talk about another thing about this, is even when you're dealing with, in the cryptoverse, obviously the on-ramps and off-ramps are gate-controlled, where you have these exchanges where you shouldn't keep, if you have large amounts of crypto or stable coins or things like that, you shouldn't just leave them on the exchange if you plan to hold them. Now, if you trade them every month or you get involved in other things, or your dollar cost averaging, obviously it makes sense to have things on your exchange account. But be ready with your own wallet and custody your own money should you need to. You never know what kind of regulations will come down for these different exchanges. Binance was just in trouble by everybody because they don't have an office for regulators to go knock on the door and send them bills, right? You never know. The expression goes, not your keys, not your crypto. And for people who own cryptocurrency, they understand what that means. But for people who don't, are still doing research, looking at what to getting into, you have a send address where if people want to send you cryptocurrencies, that is it's a receive address. They would use that address and that's a public address. Anybody can know what that address is and use that to send you cryptocurrency. You have an address that you're paying for something. The person on the other end can see that address. And then you have a private key. And your private key is your real address, and that is your account. Now, when you have your money on an exchange and you're doing trading on an exchange such as Coinbase, such as Kraken, such as Binance, and you have a wallet on that exchange, I just bought Bitcoin, you have a wallet. It puts it in a wallet. It's right there in your account. They hold your private keys. You don't know what your actual private keys are for the Bitcoin or the cryptocurrency that you have on the exchange. When you transfer those funds off the exchange to your private wallet, off anything, you now have that crypto and nobody can ever take it away from you. Unless, of course, there are scams and things like that. Well, you take that offline and you put it in a hardware wallet like a Ledger or a Trezor, nobody has access to it but you. Nobody can get into it. The government's paying big money for anybody who can hack a Trezor or a Ledger. Okay. So, that is important. And guess what? They're not going to charge your Trezor is not going to charge you negative interest rates for the courtesy of holding on to your Bitcoin, like a bank will. The whole game, so they say, is why they want to move to a central bank digital currency. Has nothing to do with fixing the economy. It has nothing to do with fixing any problems. It has to do with transactions going on in the private world with Federal Reserve dollars to where you go to a garage sale and you buy something at a garage sale for 50 cents or maybe $2, okay? And the government believes that's a sale and they want to tax you. And they'll say it's money laundering. Well, we got to stop money laundering. No, it's about nickel and diming and taxing everything that you do with their currency. And honestly, you may not like that, but it's their currency. They can do with it what they want. It's the Federal Reserve's currency. That is their jurisdiction. Now, they do not have the right to regulate and tax other currencies, such as cryptocurrencies. And I realize that currently in the world, every country views cryptocurrency a little bit differently. Bitcoin is a property, treated as a property for legal aspects in America. In El Salvador, Bitcoin's a currency. And as more countries pick up Bitcoin as a currency, the central banks will lose control because nobody has any authority over what goes on Bitcoin. They don't have any control. It's completely decentralized, which brings us right back around to Robinhood, and which brings us right back around to these banks that are completely centralized organizations that can decide what they're going to allow you to do on their platform. We all know we're going through this deal on YouTube where a lot of content creators are getting kicked off. People are kicked off of Twitter and Facebook for merely repeating the talking points that are on the news. Because little robots go in there and they hunt and peck and ban people for certain words. Of course, because they are run by the CIA. But that's a totally different deal, not a crypto deal. But it lets you know where the world is going. So now, Robinhood here restricts trading on GameStop, other names involved in the frenzy. So you have a trading, calls itself a trading thing where you can purchase real, like regular stocks, right? You can purchase GameStop, you can purchase Tesla, you can purchase Google, Amazon. These are traditional, you would call them brick and mortars once upon a time, but these are traditional businesses on the stock exchange, the S&P 500. And Robinhood is an application that allows you to buy all of these different stocks without going through a broker, without going through a trader, just doing it on your phone. And you have money in your digital account or whatever, and you can trade these things. Well, when they decide that you can't buy something is really, really, really hot, and Robinhood admittedly stopped allowing people from buying GameStop to help out their hedge fund buddies, okay? This is going to happen all the time with a central bank digital currency because blockchain is smart enough to where you can just tell the blockchain you don't want certain undesirable businesses, we'll say, or undesirable people out there speaking, practicing free speech, you can just stop money from going to them. You'll try to send someone purchase something from some business who has been deemed illicit, and they will say, no, you can't do that. And if you're the business who has been deemed, or the person, you've been deemed that you didn't pay taxes, or you didn't pay a fine, or you didn't do this, or you didn't do that, and they turn your wallet off, where you have no access to funds. This is what they want. Of course they want. Guys, government is not your friend. Okay? Government is very, very scary. It's not the gangs up the street, okay? It's not the meth head hoodlums who are going around and steal your bicycle or break into your shed. That's not what you worry about. You worry about things that can actually really impact your freedom and your sovereignty. That is the government. That's the only thing worth being afraid of. I don't personally like the idea of being afraid of them. And you won't be afraid if you're equipped to handle the situation and what we're moving into here in our digital revolution, you call it. The digital revolution. The digital revolution just means the digital enslavement, okay, with CBDCs. This is why we are so hard on Bitcoin. Buy Bitcoin, buy Bitcoin, buy Bitcoin. And there are a lot of naysayers out there, particularly in the altcoin market, regardless of what the altcoin is, or like, well, Bitcoin, you can track Bitcoin, and Bitcoin has these problems, and yada, 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 yada. It doesn't matter. When you have Bitcoin, it doesn't matter when you sign up for an exchange that you have to give them the same information as you would for a bank account, because when you actually purchase the crypto, you can take it off the exchange, and nobody can stop what you're doing with the cryptocurrency that you own. Nobody. Bitcoin in particular is completely decentralized. Even if they wanted to stop it, they can't. They can't. There are many cryptocurrencies out there that are exclusively used for privacy, so no one can track anything, anyhow, anywhere, such as Monero, such as Pirate Chain. I think Zcash has an option to do that. So if privacy is a big concern, there are options out there. But as far as business is concerned, with Bitcoin, you want everything to be transparent. You want to be able to look and see where funds are going and make sure that everything is on the up and up. Which is why, in the world of central banking digital currencies, why do they all need to develop their own blockchain for their own central bank digital currencies? Because they have to make a garbage one. They have to make a garbage blockchain that nobody would ever use, with unlimited coins, and all of the printing out of nothing can still exist on the blockchain. And they have to make it so that they can hide what they do, but they can sneak in and spy on everything you do. Blockchains come, like Bitcoin, come from a personal sovereignty perspective, where we're going to have real money, and you're not going to tell us how we can spend it. That's where the ideal is. And obviously, there is cryptocurrency tokens out there that are basically New World Order coins. Those of you that study the Bible or know anything about this, it's the New World Order Mark of the Beast token. And there are a lot of coins out there that want to be that, raising their hands to say, hey, look, guys, we got the perfect New World Order system for you. Buy my token. Okay? A lot of them. The only ones that are going to go anywhere on the crypto sphere, though, are the ones that are going to actually give you freedom. They're the only ones that will really be worth anything. Now, there are some out there that are Ethereum that are kind of like got a foot in each pond, you should say. But the cryptoverse is still young. Still young. And the more people that get involved in the freedom aspect and get involved in Bitcoin, they will understand it when these countries, obviously China is locked down, so nobody knows what happens in China unless they release it to national news if they feel like it. But also India is on here. Reserve Bank of India is coming out with their CBDC. The information is going to come out because the economies around the world are crashing. What happens with these CBDCs with their people? And if they're turning on and off people's wallets, if the value of, say, you get $100 in your digital currency, if the value of your digital currency is just automatically variable to where it's still a dollar, but your dollar, instead of being able to buy an apple with your CBDC digital dollar, your dollar, won't buy anything, right? Hard to explain, but essentially a digital version of inflation, where it still says that it's $1, it just doesn't buy anything, right? You need like 1,000 of them to buy an apple, but it's still a dollar. We'll see. As the economies break down around the world, these ones that are transitioning to these digital currencies, the kind of rules, regulations, and everything that they're putting into these things, people just don't understand. People really don't understand how overbearing and, I say, evil this system is. But good thing. It's a good thing. We got Bitcoin, right? We got Bitcoin, a whole slew of other currencies out there. And like I said, it would benefit everybody greatly. I would say everybody needs to own some sort of piece of Bitcoin, no matter how small, because Bitcoin's a limited resource. And it is something to transact with that will be outside the central bank digital currencies. Now, America is a little bit behind the times for CBDCs, and they're looking at actually having one out in 5 years. It's like, oh, great. We got about 5 years. Got about 5 years. Maybe they're not so worried about it because most people in America don't use cash, right? People are already in America are being tracked in every which way that they possibly can be, and they don't seem to care. Okay, they just don't care. So maybe in America they can take their sweet time, but it's a big deal, and it's a thing that you really don't want to be a part of if you can help it. And there are other options. And as we go forward in the future, the old, the more people that are using the alternate, the less people or the more people are going to resist the central bank digital currencies. And it's important, you look at things like I mentioned, a garage sale or giving a child allowance, or going to the fairgrounds and you have the vendors, you want to buy a corn dog or something. All of these transactions happen in cash for the most part. Some people use credit cards. But even things like giving a loan to somebody, just a friend of yours, and not doing interest, things like this, these things will just be taxed automatically because they can program it into the blockchain. And why wouldn't they? They'll tax something. They'll tax everything that they possibly can. And if they're not supposed to tax it, it's up to you to go fight it. We know how that works. We know how that works, where the government breaks your legs, right? The government breaks the rules. The government breaks your legs. The government does all of these illegal things to you or your business or your family or whatever. And it's up to you to fight it. And 10 years later, many hundreds of thousands of dollars, the government goes, yeah, you're right. We shouldn't have done that. That is the central banking digital system. Now, when you have sovereign money, you have sound money, even control over the physical dollar and the dollars in your bank account right now is really messing with the government. They want everyone to go out and go spend because we got to keep this economy going. We got to keep the top 1% of the 1% as rich as possible. The top 1% of the 1% of the 1% up there. We got to keep that stock market going. We got to keep all these things going. And so, yeah, they want people out there spending their money. And I am 50-50 on when they release new stimuluses, because of course they will, that it won't be in some sort of a card or something that's only valid on Amazon or the grocery store. But crypto, they'll block it from crypto exchanges, right? I wouldn't doubt it, because a lot of people are taking their if they're smart anyway, they're taking their stimulus and just putting it right into crypto. The original $1,200 check, if you'd have that in crypto right now, the original $1,200 check we got a year and a half ago as the start of the pandemic when everything got shut down, it was worth $8,800 when I saw the article on it. Worth $8,800 right now. Okay, so 600-700% gain on money that you got for nothing, just by investing in crypto. And crypto's had a lot of ups and downs. Okay, a lot of ups and downs, but at the end of the day, where else are you going to get that kind of a gain? Why can you get that kind of a gain in crypto? Number one, it's a very new space with a lot of great technology in it. But Bitcoin in particular, that doesn't really do too much. All Bitcoin does is kind of sit there and be sound money, be a good store of value. Why is Bitcoin the thing that everybody wants to be involved in? It's sound money. It's freedom. And it's seemingly, not investment advice, seemingly has a guaranteed return rate of at least 200% per year since the day it was started. There is no other asset on the planet that even remotely compares. People are talking a lot about gold and silver and all these things. It's like, well, gold has made 2% in the last 20 years, which doesn't even cover inflation. Not a very good investment. Okay. The stock market? You mean the stock market that, even though the economy in America has been shut down for a year, shot in the foot, has been hobbled, the stock market mysteriously keeps going up and up and up and making all-time highs, despite the GDP of the country being basically nothing. How is that possible? It doesn't really make sense logically, but it doesn't have to when you're playing around with fictitious things you call Federal Reserve dollars that they can print up on a whim. Oh, we need to boost this industry. We need to boost that industry. We need to boost that. Keep them printing. Keep them going. We need more ones and zeros over there, over there, over there, over there. Everybody knows that doesn't end well. Most other countries have gone belly up because of that. Because no government can curb its spending of money. None. America is still here because it's the reserve currency, which is slowly slipping away, by the way. The dollar is based on a barrel of oil coming from Saudi Arabia. Well, Saudi Arabia is just kind of hitched up with China and hitched up with Russia. So where do you think's going on with the dollar being, or the price of oil being denominated in dollars? That's why everybody has to use the dollar. Sounds like time is limited. And what's going to replace the dollar? A central bank digital currency. You don't want a central bank digital currency. Obviously, at some point, everyone's going to be forced into having exposure, at least to some sort of a central bank digital currency. Just like, in this day and age, a lot of people opt to pay their bills and things like that digitally. And that, of course, is a choice, though. You can opt into that. Like, oh, I guess I have to use my CBDC, whatever, garbage coin to go pay for this, that, or the other thing, or I may as well use it for groceries. But hey, guys, Amazon is even going to accept cryptocurrencies. You really, at this point in time, you don't need to be using even the Federal Reserve dollars. You really don't. But that is what I have. Rallied on long enough about what is a CBDC and why you don't want one of those, but you'll be hearing it on the news. The people who watch actual nightly news, I don't recommend that you watch any television, but if you watch the nightly news, you will hear these things about CBDCs, and you will hear them say, they're out there to combat fraud and money laundering. We're going to combat fraud and money laundering. And it's like, no, you're not. What they mean by money laundering is you not paying taxes when you buy something at a garage sale. That's what they mean. The fraud and the money laundering is all done by the central banks. And that's factual. You can look up, Google on that. Actual fraud, Wall Street, central banks. What do you call printing money out of nothing? We call it fraud, but if you're a bank, you're allowed to do it. And that's what your economy is based on. So with that, guys, we will be out of here. Next video is going to be actually signing up on a cryptocurrency exchange, what it looks like, and how you go about doing it.